What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Happy Saturday. Little bit of an unconventional weekend ahead for us here because the Seahawks don't play. They've already got their game out of the way and they did get the win, so we can be happy, but there's going to be a little bit less to talk about this weekend. So, obviously, we've got a lot of college football today, and we do have some NFL action tomorrow. I'm considering doing a red zone stream. Not sure if I'm going to do it yet or not, but I have done it before and it is fun. So we'll see. I might just turn on the stream, turn on red zone, and watch for 7 hours and basically just have fun talking about the games, and people can come in and hang out. So if you guys feel one way or the other about me doing that, please let me know. But this video, I want to talk a little bit about one of the Seahawks young players that is having kind of a second breakout, Derick Hall. First, though, let's take 60 seconds to talk about Sleeper. Before I go any further, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper. If you're not using the Sleeper app this year for daily fantasy football, you are missing out. Take a look on the left side of your screen. Look at all the great stuff you can pick on over there. Let's put together an entry for this weekend. Here is mine. I've got Bijan Robinson scoring an anytime touchdown. Atlanta's offense is due for a breakout after last week's tremendous disappointment, scoring 0 points. I got Micah Parsons getting at least half a sack against the Cowboys. How is he not going to get a sack in that game? It's a revenge game for him. I got Rome Odunze with at least 59 receiving yards. He's feeling it right now. He's going up against the Raiders. Think he's going to do well. And I got DK Metcalf after two relatively slow games, getting at least 51 yards. Pittsburgh's having trouble running the ball. Time for DK to bust a big play or two. Get on over to Sleeper, put together your entry. You can get a $100 match on your first deposit with promo code SBN. Terms and conditions apply. Back to the video. All right, welcome back. So I think we all have a general sense of what Derick Hall has been in the first couple years of his career. The first year, he didn't really do anything. He provided very, very little value. Not a lot going on there. The second year, he really came on as a pass rusher, provided a lot of pressure, had 8 sacks, things going really well there. And now this third year, we're seeing something else so far. And it's something that is really cool because one thing with Derick Hall, even in that second year breakout he had, was he wasn't playing the run well. His run defense seemed to be a pretty big weakness. And that was something that felt like was going to hold him back from being a true stud in this league. He kind of seemed like he was going to be a happy path version of Darrell Taylor. And so far this year, he's been way better. So let's look at a few things here. So first is Pro Football Focus. And I think that Pro Football Focus does struggle a little bit to really judge things when it comes to linebacker play, safety play, zone corner play. I think they have issues there. I think they generally do pretty well with edge rushers. So when they say something is true, I'm inclined to at least suspect they are on the right track here. So when I look at Derick Hall's grading so far this year compared to last year, and I'm seeing, okay, first, he's actually, despite not having any sacks, he actually grades slightly higher as a pass rusher because he is doing such a good job generating pressure regardless. He's actually generating pressure at a higher rate than he did in 2024. That is going to get my attention a little bit. And then I'm looking and I'm seeing his run defense grade going from a 45.7, which is very bad, maybe not atrocious like it was in 2023, like legitimately maybe one of the worst run defense scores in football, but 45.7 is very bad, to a 69.5, which is good, which is well above replacement level. That is something that is going to get my attention. That is something that I'm going to look at and go, okay, I think we might have something real here. Now, his tackling grade is lower by a good margin, and it was never really good, but this could be a small sample size thing. I'm not too worried about that. His coverage grade is way down, but again, I don't care about coverage grade in this defense for edge defenders for the most part because they don't do it enough. You're talking about like 2, maybe 3 snaps a game. I'm not too invested in that. So when I see that, I'm like, I think this guy's taking another step up here, and it's a big, important step up. Derrick Hall's run defense was so suspect last year. I feel like by the end of the year, we didn't really trust him. There was a game against the Bears last year in week 17 where Derrick Hall had 10 snaps. Maybe he was injured, but I think part of it was that was a close game. That was a low scoring game. And I think they didn't really trust having him out there because he can't hold up against the run. And I think that's why you didn't see very much of him. So I'm looking at that and I'm comparing that to this year. And just looking at the PFF grades, it looks like there's a massive improvement to where not only is he a capable run defender, he might even be a plus run defender. And I think it goes beyond just the scoring because I'm seeing more than just what Pro Football Focus has to say when it comes to Derrick Hall. Danchu, or Chicken and Mental's caretaker on X, he's admittedly, by his own admission, amateur film grinder, Seahawks stuff, does good work. He has been doing a lot of cut-ups on X this year of a few different players. But he's mostly been focusing, or, well, I don't want to say mostly focusing, but he's partially been focusing on Derrick Hall. And he's done a lot of tweets over there on X talking about how Derrick Hall seems like he's improved as a run defender. I'm not going to show the clips that he's posting. You can go check them out on your own if you want to. Puts together threads. He puts together a lot of series of tweets going over tape of various players that he wants to highlight. And Derrick Hall this year has been getting featured a lot as somebody who is not only doing really well as a pass rusher, but also getting it done as a run defender. Again, I don't want to put his stuff on my video, so if you want to actually watch the cut-ups, go check out his account. But it's a clear difference from last year, I think. He's not getting washed out. He's showing some strength. He's fighting through blockers to get to the play. And you're seeing some good stuff from him as a rusher and a run defender now. It's clear, and it's pretty stark to me. So I'm seeing it also from the tape. It's not just PFF tells me it's true, therefore it's true. I'm seeing it in the games if you really highlight certain if you really pay attention to highlighting certain aspects of his play. And also, this is from Seahawks Today, and this is from before the Cardinals game, by the way, so we don't even have the Cardinals game stuff where I do think he played well. According to Seahawks Today on X, before the Cardinals game, the Seahawks had 2 edge defenders in the top 10 of edge run stop win rate, and one of them is D-Law, of course. D-Law, the invincible one when it comes to run defense as an edge rusher, is third. Derrick Hall ranks 8th out of how many qualifying edges in the NFL? At least 64, right? Probably a little bit more. Somewhere around there, so that is very, very good. That is close to 90th percentile. And while run stop win rate is certainly a little bit of an odd stat that you kind of have to massage to get meaning out of, it does indicate that there's been a big improvement in this area for a very important player on this Seahawks team. And this is going to allow him to play so much more and be so much more flexible and be more of a value piece than I would have expected after what happened last season. After last year, I kind of thought I had Derrick Hall more or less figured out. I thought that he was a one-dimensional pass rusher, which that's okay, that's fine. But I also didn't think he was some speed demon off the edge. Like even Darrell Taylor felt like he had more speed off the edge. Now Darrell Taylor had so many big obvious deficiencies in his game that I still felt like Hall was more valuable because he had a little bit more power. But I felt like it wasn't that different in terms of this was going to be a guy who was going to be a dedicated passing down player. This was going to be somebody who would be a rotational guy who comes in on 3rd and long and comes in passing situations, and that's about it because you couldn't trust his run defense. But he has taken another step up, and it's not shocking. He's only 24. It's not like he was a finished product coming into the year. He turned 24 back in March. but I didn't get the sense that he was going to take a big step up in this area. Maybe he could become passable. I didn't think he could get to the point where he might actually be a net positive in the run defense game. So really, really cool development here. Remember, we have another year of cheap control of Derick Hall. He is not eligible for an extension yet. He will be eligible for an extension next offseason. And if we don't extend him, then we have him cheap for another year. If we do extend him, well, I'm going to feel more comfortable with that idea at this point because it seems like he is rounding into form as an all-around good player and might end up being a more valuable component than Boye Mafe, who has an extra year in the NFL, is older. I think he's a 2 or 3 years older actually, and it kind of feels like I mean, I like Boye Mafe. I think that he is playing well this year. He's another guy who has no sacks, but I think is doing his job. But he might have kind of already hit the ceiling in a way that Hall may have not. Maybe this is Derick Hall's ceiling. I don't think it's a bad ceiling, but he's still only 24. I don't want to assume anything at this point because again, this is an area where I thought it was kind of settled. All right, so wanted to talk about that a little bit here as we start off the day. I'll be on stream in about 3 hours from the upload of this video, 3.5 hours. Big game today, very important game. We're going to learn a lot. I'm interested, even if I'm not overly optimistic. But we'll talk about that in 3.5 hours. So everybody have a good day. Wanted to talk about Derick Hall a little bit because, yeah, I think he's better than I thought. And I liked him a lot when we drafted him, don't get me wrong. But after last year, I thought I had him pegged. Doesn't seem like he was pegged, though. All right, go Hawks.